Have you ever thought that imposter syndrome doesn't mean that you're not ready or not enough? It means that you're standing at the edge of your next breakthrough. You're about to level up, but only if you don't let that voice in your head win. Because here's what nobody tells you about self doubt: it doesn't show up when you're failing, it shows up when you're about to rise. And the question is, will you listen to it or will you lead anyway? Let me tell you how I almost said no to the biggest opportunity of my life. I had just been offered a massive promotion, a manufacturing side head for the very first acquisition of our entire Fortune 500 company. This was a seat at the table. It was visibility, influence, and a chance to make real impact at scale. And what did I do? I nearly turned it down. Because instead of celebrating, my brain immediately started listing all of the reasons I was not ready for it. But Jenny, you don't have an MBA. Jenny, you've never done mergers and acquisitions. You'll be away from corporate. You're going to be isolated. Jenny, you're too different from the others. You don't fit the mold. Maybe if you wait 5 more years. None of that was on the job description. None of that was even real. But that voice in my head, it was loud and it was so convincing. That's the thing about imposter syndrome. It doesn't whisper, it shouts. It builds a case against you out of thin air and dares you to believe it. And I almost did. But then something powerful happened. A mentor of mine, somebody who had seen me lead, grow, and deliver results, looked me in the eyes and said, Jenny, you're more than ready. And I believed her. Not because I suddenly felt fearless, but because I trusted her. I trusted her perspective more than my fear. So I said, sí, yes. And I figured it out. I didn't just survive the role, I crushed it. That year, I even got the highest performance review in the entire leadership team as the newest person in the group. Here's the truth, that changed everything for me. Imposter syndrome is not a red flag, it's a signal. And it's not proof that you're unqualified, it's proof that you're growing. And it doesn't mean stop, it means you're stretching. And just like any bad habit, it can be broken. The key is to stop seeing it as the truth and start treating it like the glitch it is. Because if I had waited to be ready, if I had waited to check every single box, you wouldn't be watching this video right now. And I wouldn't be the woman I am today. So if you ever heard that same voice, if you ever caught yourself shrinking back, second guessing, or quietly settling for less, this is your moment, my friend. We are breaking the cycle. And I'm gonna show you exactly how to shut that voice down for good. Let's go. Here's something your brain doesn't want you to know. That voice in your head, the one saying you're not ready, you're gonna mess this up, they're gonna find out that you don't belong here, it's not telling you the truth. Mentiroso or mentirosa. It's telling you to stay safe. Your brain isn't built for success. It's built for survival. And honestly, it doesn't care about your dreams, your goals, or even your legacy. It only cares about keeping you from risk, even if that risk is just a little bit of discomfort. So the moment you start to rise, your brain hits the brakes. Stop right there. What if you fail? What if they judge you? Let's just stay there and be safe. Play safe. It's acting like you've been chased by a tiger when really you're just about to send the email. Raise your hand and say yes to the next level of your life. And let me make this crystal clear. Staying safe is not the same as stepping into your purpose. If you let that fear voice runs the show, you stay stuck. And nothing grows from things that are stagnant. And guess what? You're not alone in this. Even Maya Angelou, one of the most brilliant, celebrated writers of all times, she even said, I have written 11 books, but each time I think, uh-oh, they're going to find out now. I run a game on everyone, and they're going to find me out. That's Maya Angelou. So no, feeling like a fraud doesn't mean that you're not good enough. It means you're human. But here's the difference between people who rise and people who stay stuck. They don't believe everything they think. They learn how to separate thoughts from truth. And they see fear for what it is. It's a glitch in the system. And you know what? They choose to move anyway. And rewiring your mind is not easy. It takes practice. It takes discipline. But once you do it, you stop playing small. You stop asking for permission. And you start leading like the powerhouse that you actually are. So let's train that brain to work for you and not against you. So here are 5 real, for sure ways to shut down imposter syndrome for good. All right, now that you know imposter syndrome isn't a flaw, it's a signal, let's talk strategy. Because motivation is cute, but what you really need is momentum. Here's how to stop letting that fear voice run the show and start taking back your power. Número uno, name the darn voice, then mute it. First things first, if that voice isn't you, stop letting it narrate your life. When that little vocecita pops up like, you're not qualified, you don't belong here, what if you fail? And they see it. I don't debate, I don't spiral, I just shut it down with 3 words. Not today, Bruna. Yeah, I named my inner imposter syndrome after a cartoon character from Luca. Why? Because the moment you name it, you create distance from it. Like, it's not your truth, it's Bruna's opinion. And no offense to her, but she doesn't get a vote. Now you try it. Name your imposter. Something silly, so petty, that every time it shows up, you laugh before you spiral. Make it ridiculous, like Karen or Chad or Mildred, Gary. I don't know, you name it. Have fun with it. Because if you can laugh at it, you've already won. Número dos, become your own hype squad. Your brain is basically a receipts collector. And guess what it tends to hoard? Every single mistake, every awkward moment, every time you hesitated or froze or doubted yourself. So we're flipping that. Starting today, build your hype file. Create a system that collects proof of your greatness on repeat. This can be a win journal where you log everything from the tiny triumphs to big breakthrough, or a praise folder with screenshots of compliments and reviews and feedback. Anything that reminds you that you're a badass. A before and after reflection. Look back at who you were 5 years ago. You're not even the same human. Celebrate that. Do you want confidence? Don't wait for it. Build it, rewire it, and reinforce it daily. Because the louder your proof gets, the quieter the imposter syndrome becomes. Número tres, flip the freaking script. You want a mindset hack that actually works? Go and catch the thought and flip it like a pancake. Imposter voice says, I'm not experienced enough. Then you say, I'm resourceful enough to figure it out. And maybe the imposter says, what if I fail? And then you say, what if this is the moment that changes my life forever? If the imposter says, I don't belong here, then you tell Bruna, I built the seat I'm sitting in. Your thoughts are not just background noise. They're building your identity without you even realizing. And this is not just your woo-woo mindset work, girl. It's mental weight training, and you are building a new default. So don't just react to thoughts. Rewrite them, replace them, reinforce them until they just stop sounding like lies and start feeling like the truth. You got to flip the script before it flips your future. Number 4, activate your superhero identity. All right, let's talk about Beyonce. Before she was Queen Bee on stage, she was quiet, introverted, and unsure. Can you believe that? So what did she do? She created Sasha Fierce, her alter ego, a bold, fearless persona she could step into whenever she needed to perform at the next level. And not to be fake, but to step into who she knew she needed to become to own the stage. So here's the question. Who is your Sasha? And what does that version of you look like? How does she speak, and what rooms does she walk into like she belongs? What does she believe about herself? And what doesn't she tolerate anymore? You don't have to become her someday. You start now. One decision at a time. And by the way, if you haven't already read The Alter Ego Effect by Todd Herman, it'll blow your mind. Go and read it. Número 5, stop trying to be self-made. Nobody is. Let me be crystal clear. No one rises alone. You don't need more information. You've got Google. You got AI. You need proximity. You need accountability. You need people who say, girl, you got this, even where your brain is screaming, run. The right mentors, coaches, and communities will see your potential before you do, remind you who the hell you are, call you forward when you start shrinking. Without my coaches, there's no Jennie the author, no Jennie the board leader, no Jennie creating transformational 6K VIP weekends. I'll come back to this one in just a moment. And you know what? You're not weak for needing support. You're wise enough to get in rooms that lift your ceiling. Because the right people won't just cheer you on. They will pull you forward. You need to be surrounded by coaches that push you, mentors that stretch you, friends who refuse to let you shrink, people who will speak truth, even when fear gets loud. Imposter syndrome isn't something you cure. It's a voice that you manage. And with the right mindset, the right tools, and people in your corner, you just don't manage it. You dominate it. And when that voice shows up again, smile, tilt your crown, and say, not today, Bruna. Let's go. Now, if you're still thinking, okay, this sounds great, but can this really work for me? Let me tell you about 2 moments that almost never happened because of imposter syndrome. The book I almost didn't write. When I first had the idea to write a book, I was on fire. Ideas were pouring in, scenes played in my mind like a movie. But then the voice showed up. You didn't go to book school, Jenny. What does that even mean? This is not research-based. Who do you think you are writing a book? Jenny, people are gonna laugh. And for 1 second, I believed it. And then I did what I just taught you. I flipped the script in my head. I stopped focusing on what I was not and reminded myself of what I was. An empowering leader, a woman who had helped others rise, a coach whose words moved lives. And that book, guess what? It became a bestseller. Because I didn't need credentials, I needed conviction. Now the 6K idea that I almost killed. Most recently, I had this idea that kept showing up. A $6,000 VIP transformational weekend event. And again, Bruna showed up again. Jenny, people are gonna think you're greedy. No one is gonna pay that amount of money. Jenny, this is too much, you're too much. But my coach hit me with the truth. Jenny, why are you even deciding for them? Why are you robbing them of the transformation they need? That was it. I sent a few invites and within the first hour, the first yes came in. Not just a sign up, an enthusiastic, grateful, and hell yes. That moment reminded me, imposter syndrome doesn't just steal from you. It steals from the people who need what you're here to offer. So don't let it win. Amiga, you're not too much. You're not behind. You're not an imposter. You are becoming. You're in motion. You are in the process. And the only permission you need, you just give it to yourself. So leave a comment and tell me, what script are you flipping today? And if this video lit a fire under you, like, yes, I needed this, hit that like, smash that subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. This is just the beginning. Let's go, queen. By the way, if you want complete clarity on what makes you stand out, I put together a free resource with the most powerful insights I've given my clients, the exact same strategies that help them unlock their superpowers and build brands that open doors. It will help you to do the same so you can step into your full potential and attract the right opportunities. The link is down below.